Hello, good evening. Happy Sunday. I decided to come in later today, to come in the evening rather than coming in the morning. So today is Sunday, and Sunday is the day that is ruled by the sun. And the sun is currently at the 18th degree of Cancer. Hey there, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. And the sun is at the 18th degree of Cancer. The thing that the sun rules our personality. It's how we express ourselves. It's almost, when I think of our relationship to the sun, it's like I see ourselves as all individual patterns, and the light expresses through us in these individual unique ways. What's significant about the sun in Cancer is that the sun in Cancer brings us to our childhood experiences. And it's like the dominant energy of your childhood. And when you start paying attention to where the sun is, every day or, every month, and then start thinking like, well, how do I feel? Like sometimes we get sick at the same time every year. And we might have to have a few patterns to see the pattern acting out. We might have depression at the same times of every year. We might have, all of these sort of things. Every year when I was young, I would lose my voice at a certain time of year. And all of those things are patterns that come from our childhood. I remember I used to get hives. I used to have health stuff, and I would break out and itch all over because I was in an environment as a child that was filled with anxiety and a lot of stress. And so I would have these reactions, and those reactions, the way my nervous system functioned, then created similar types of things every year until I was able to really catch myself in the act. The subconscious is running everything. And so with the sun in Cancer, we have an opportunity to really reprogram ourselves at the level of our childhood patterns. So this for me has been really intense this month because my intention has been to come home to myself, because that's what Cancer is. It's about the home, your physical home, but it's the home that you are. It's who you are in yourself. And it's so significant that we have to understand that who we are is unique. So if you're not being yourself, then you guys have heard me say this. If you're not being yourself, then you're missing the thing. Then we are missing the thing. We don't get to benefit from the unique expression that you are. And so there's that. So one of the things that I'm experiencing that's interesting for me right now is, can still hear me. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Can you hear me? Yes or no? Can you hear me? I'm in and out. Okay. Can you hear me now? Yes. Yes, I can. Okay, great. Hold on one second. Hold on one. Okay, great. So the thing that I'm really working with for myself is like, it's my desire to remove the indoctrination, right? So just like that post I just posted that said the ages of the people that we call the founding fathers of this country. And what I happen to know is that we have been conditioned in our own humanity, in our own way of being humans. It's been really fascinating to hear people's responses, when I say something like jumping timelines or changing, there are people who are like, yeah, let's do it. And we're going to do it. But then there are people like, I don't want to go back in the past. But we are multidimensional beings. There really is no past. There really is now, and everything exists now. So when we can do the work to shift our frequency in the now, we can change the past. But it's to get people to think broadly and expansively and out of the ways of thinking that we have been conditioned to be in, to get people to understand that we have powers and abilities and functions within us that we have not tapped into. This is Cancer stuff. This is coming home to yourself, really discovering who you are, really learning how you function, really, really investing in yourself and investigating your own frequencies and codes and learning how this universe works. This is a universe that's based on codes. Everything here is a code. It's hard to talk about this stuff because it sounds so weird, but it's all codes. And so the way we change things is by shifting our own codes. How to do that? By following the moon cycles. And by following the moon and the sun cycles, you change your own frequency. And you shift, and when you change your frequency, you shift all the timelines. If I was really, really, really poor, all my life, but then I step into another frequency and consciousness and deliberately and intentionally shift my frequency into abundance, right? Into a higher frequency of abundance. It's going to change every timeline that I've ever been on before. And this is what I'm talking about, really learning how we function and who we are. And so as I train myself to begin to function differently, it's not easy. I will say that, because it requires that you have people around you who are not poo-pooing on you if you're going to share stuff. So for instance, one of the things that I've been doing with my cats is because everything here is subtle energy. Everything is subtle. If you can access the subtle energy, then you can access the real power. But most of us are external. And so we skip the subtle energy and we go into creation through this external understanding without doing the subtle work. And then the things that we want don't manifest, don't come into beingness, because we're not following the laws of the universe. So I've been doing this thing with my cats where rather than I've been taking them outside, you guys, which has been such a trip, right? Because they're indoor cats, but I don't want them to be locked into the indoors. I feel like that's cruel. So I've been taking them out, and my higher self has, I speak to them in my consciousness. I use my imagination to speak with them. I don't use the sound because they understand the subtle energy. So when we go out in my yard, we have a courtyard. They can go around and I don't have to be walking behind them going, "What are you doing?" and worried about if they're safe or not, because they would feel that. So what I do is I just envision in my mind when I want them to come back to me. I just envision them walking up my stairs. I'll envision one and then I'll envision the other. And then I wait. I hold it. I hold the frequency of that vision. And sure enough, they come. They come without me calling their names. They come without me because I'm working with subtle energy. I'm doing the work to come back home to myself, to understand how we function. We have functions and abilities and ways of being that are more advanced than what we have been conditioned and taught to believe. And humans have this too. I actually do this with humans quite a bit, honestly. They don't always, oftentimes they respond. They don't know that I've done it, but I send signals, right? When my cats were living, I would do the same thing and they loved it. Yes. You literally just see it. You don't have to speak anything and they just show up. And so if animals can do it, we can do this with one another, but we have to practice. We have to practice so that we begin to understand who we are, and so that we begin to understand who we are through the experience of it. Through the experience of it. Legend of the 33rd Sage Story of the Initiate. Oh, where can I find that? Okay. So these are the things, this is what we use Cancer energy for, because Cancer is saying, come home to yourself. And understanding that when you're with the self is what builds the material world through your feelings, through your thoughts, through your imagination, then through your choices, through the energies in your body. But we have to remove the trauma. The trauma is what blocks. And so sometimes when I'm doing that thing with the cats, I'll feel myself get nervous. I'll feel myself get scared. That's trauma. That's trauma of doubt and fear, things not going my way, holding on to shit that was old, disappointment, and then it will interfere the creation. And so I have to do the work to clear that. I'm so glad you reminded me of this. Absolutely. So, the sun in Cancer and the moon is in. So the sun in Cancer is asking us to come home to ourselves. How can we nurture our gifts? How can we nurture our talents? How can we begin to nurture security within ourselves, right? When my intuition is turned on, I actually feel more secure. Because lately I've been noticing that I've been having premonitions. Like every day I've been noticing I might see something and then within a minute or so it'll happen. So Cancer is about our intuition and really our sensitivities. And when we're tapped into them, we get signals around what's going on in the universe. And also we're tapped into our children. We're tapped into the environment. You feel more safe and secure when you're tapped in. At least I do. When I'm tapped in, I feel invincible. I feel like, oh, I'm good. Otherwise, I'm nervous and scared and worried and thinking and all that sort of stuff, right? But when you're present and in the moment, not in the future and not in the past, you can generate a reality based upon your alignment. Absolutely. Okay, you all. So the moon is in Sagittarius, and the moon in Sagittarius is about faith. The moon in Sagittarius is about our philosophy, faith, your vision. And this is aligned with Cancer, right? In an interesting sort of way. I mean, they are actually in conjunction with one another. But I will say that with the sun in Cancer and the moon in Sagittarius, it's asking you to let go of your fears and to step into your faith. To let go of your fears and to step into your faith, whatever's going on for you now. And so, like I said, most of us are having the opportunity to realign our childhood energies because it's Cancer. So one of the things that I've been really working with is, like I said, coming home to myself, but then seeing how I abandon myself. Like I've been really noticing, one of the things that I will do, because I'm a Virgo, and so I'm a Virgo with a stellium in the 6th house, and I have a Virgo sun, Uranus, Pluto, and Jupiter all in Virgo. So I tend to, routines are really significant for me. I cannot do anything without a routine. And I do this thing in my mind where I will say I'm going to do something, but then if I don't really want to do it when it's happening, I'll talk myself out of it. I'll abandon myself. I'll be like, you're fasting, but you can just eat this and it doesn't count. I'll do that kind of shit, right? And I'm like, oh, look at how you abandon yourself. What would happen if you didn't abandon yourself? What would possibly come of this experience if you stayed the course, if you were true to what your intention was? And that's Cancer. Because I grew up in an environment where abandonment was on repeat, right? Everyone was abandoning themselves. And so it's something that I am working to shift, keeping my word to my motherfucking self. Okay. Keeping my word to if I tell myself I'm going to do something. So my thing is, can you trust yourself? Can you trust yourself, or are you full of shit to yourself? And let me tell you, sometimes I am so fucking full of shit. It is just I get on my own nerves. I'm like, my God, this is why you're stuck, because you're full of shit. You're not really keeping your word to yourself. So, looking at the patterns. What are the patterns from your childhood? What are the patterns? And if you can do some work to shift those patterns this month, you can make some progress in your life. All right, you all. The Neptune class starts tomorrow. I mean, it starts. Our first live class is tomorrow, so you can still join. Today I have space. It's a pretty light class, so I have a lot of space, and so I would love for you guys to join. It's $33 a month. And it's going to be until December 3rd. And so Neptune is about our subconscious. Our subconscious is everything. Freedom is on the other side of honoring ourselves. That is right. Yes. And so I would love for you guys to join the Neptune class. And that is it. I love y'all so very much. I will, you said I really had to realize this today and move through it. Yeah. I mean, Cancer, let me tell y'all, Cancer energy is hard. Why? Because we have eons of patterns piled up between our mothers, ourselves, our grandmothers, and our great-grandmothers. We have all these patterns, and we are the ones who are here to heal it. So, like, we're really the first people to do this work. We really are. I mean, maybe there have been others, but no, we're the first generation, which is why I'm here every day, because we're the first generation. People haven't been doing this work. And most of the rooms that I have been in, because I've been doing this work for 20 years, probably, and there could be 300 people in a room with 6 black people. 6 black people. 300 people in a room with 6 black people, which is why I was like, okay, something is off. And so we are the first. So I really appreciate how we show up. Somebody said, Moon Mama, you stay getting me together. I thank you so much. You're welcome, my darling. Sending love. Thank you for your guidance. Of course. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.